Alright guys, so I'm back at Ernie's. Gonna have some work done, but this time it's gonna be a little different because it's not gonna be on the gotta have it green Mustang. It's gonna be on that. So if you guys remember a couple videos back, I did talk about possibilities of getting rid of the gotta have it green Mustang 2013. I did a lot of work to it, but I was really getting caught up in the S550s and really wanted to get one and mod it just a little bit. This one here is the triple yellow with the black accent package. So it's got the black wheels, it's got the black lip spoiler, it's got blacked out emblems, so the horse on the, or the GT on the back, the 50 on the sides, and the black horse, oops, sorry guys, black horse on the grill. It's got the black painted roof, that's not a glass roof, it's black painted. And the interior, it's nicely equipped. It's got some yellow stitching, which is nice because it matches the yellow paint. We have the leather Recaros, which was a nice option. Kind of wanted the heated and cooled seats, but these Recaros are awesome, so not necessarily a bad trade-off. And it is, so it's leather, so it is a premium car. Has navigation, the backup camera, all that stuff. Made a couple of small mods to it already. One being the White Madness shifter. All right, so as you guys can see, also it is an automatic. I do a lot of city driving, so the stick shift was getting a little old. As fun as it was, it wasn't as enjoyable. So got the White Madness shifter, which is pretty cool. If you check on YouTube, the installation wasn't all that bad. You just kind of pull up on here, and you have to unscrew the stock shifter, and it comes out, and then you just slide this one through the top, and then screw it in, and then snap everything back in. So it wasn't all that bad. A little tricky because these screws are a little tiny and they can fall out, but we did that, and I ordered that special, so I got it painted black with the yellow, the triple yellow shift knob. It's a little shorter, so it's a little more comfortable. The stock shifter, you know, is probably about an inch or so higher. This one just, and it has a lot of weight to it. I was really surprised as to how much weight there was to this shifter. So it gives it a good feel, and you know, it's just the ball presses down to shift gear. So it has this lockout collar looking feature, and basically just, you know, wrap your finger underneath there and push the ball down and put it in gear. And also the other mod was the billet aluminum shifter paddles, because this has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, but they're really tiny. You can see the tip of them, you know, right there, so they're really small. So I just went ahead and got the black. You can get them in different colors, and you know, they have some nice weight to them too. They have a better feel, and just makes it easier to hit, you know, depending on where you're at, as opposed to trying to hit those little ones. So also on top of that, now today we are going to install some lowering springs, and we're going to install a new spoiler for the back. So I got the I showed you before, I have the stock spoiler. I ordered the MMD by Fu spoiler, which is similar, just a little bit larger than this one. I was going to go with the V series, but I felt that was a little too much. This build is going to be a little more subtle than the green build. You know, I do have some minor things planned. I won't be doing too many engine mods, just because void the warranty. Even a tune will void the warranty. So no heavy exhaust mods right now. You know, nothing, mostly appearance stuff. I do have an axle back on order through Late Model Restoration, LMR. I'll do a video showing that installation. And what I'm trying to do with this build is kind of do kind of a budget-friendly build. Trying to see what I can get without spending a ton of money. So I'll show you guys, you know, some options as far as the springs are the SR springs from American Muscle, as opposed to getting like an Ibach or Bachland or anything like that, or even the Ford Racing. You know, they're all $270 to $300. The SR springs are, I believe, right around 200 bucks, maybe even a little lower. And I read a lot of reviews on them, so we're going to install them today, along with that MMD by Foo spoiler. And yeah, so I will throw that up here, and we're going to get to work now. Alright guys, so springs are installed. You can see that there is, you know, these were 1 inch front, 1 inch rear, and they are starting to settle. Right now the car is pitched a little forward, so it's not exactly even pavement, but you know, as far as the ride, it definitely firmer than stock, but not firm, if you understand what I mean by that. So these cars, you know, from the factory without the performance pack are kind of a little floaty, you know, real soft ride. But so this firmed it up, but it's still, I still wouldn't consider it a firm ride. When we unboxed the springs, they were, you know, a good thick coil spring. One complaint, I guess I would say, was that there were no instructions in the box. So you get 4 springs, and that's it. So you get no bump stops. There are no instructions in the box. So I don't know if it was just my box that didn't have instructions. The downside also was that there are no instructions online. So, and since my hands were all dirty, you know, taking the video was a little hard, but so that's why you know, I put the camera down and was helping my buddy get these on between the spring compressor and everything else. I can tell you that if you did get these springs, there's the springs for the front are the wider spring setup, and they the coil towards the top is a little closer than the coil on the bottom, so that's how they go in. They tell you, you know, online, I did read that they said that they only go onto the strut one way, and that was the only way we could really get it to go on to where it looked right and didn't look all cockeyed. So the tighter coil goes towards the top, and when it came to the rear springs, the only thing I found was they said that the lettering should be facing upward, so no left, right. And the funny part about that was we could not find, there were 3 of us looking, we could not find any lettering at all on the spring. So there was a kind of a mark, it looks like maybe where they hung the spring to powder coat it. So we just put both of those up. Like I said, I drove the car about 20 miles and back home here, and there's no sound, no noise, you know, nothing sounds irregular. So I'm going to say that they're in there correctly, the way we did them. You know, if anybody has any questions, if they decide to purchase them and they're not entirely sure, you know, hit me up and I can probably clarify that for you. But you know, they tell you 4 hours. The benefit of having a shop that we can go in and on a Sunday and just throw them on. We did the springs in under an hour, and that was with, you know, going back and forth, trying to figure out which way the springs went. So really, you know, I could definitely see, you know, a 3 or 4 hour job if you're just out in your driveway using, you know, jack and jack stands, and, you know, no power tools. So but an hour with a lift and power tools and know-how. So so far I am pleased with them. I wasn't really happy with the fact that there were no instructions, I guess would be my only negative on that. There's no bump stops, so and there was you know, being that there was no instructions, I didn't know if we were supposed to cut the bump stops or just leave them the way they were, but based on what I could find online, it was just leave them the way they were. So that's what we did. So there's not going to be as much travel because obviously the springs are an inch shorter, but the bump stops are stock length. So, and then the other thing was the spoiler. We've got an MMD by Foose spoiler on the back now, which is not much more than the stock spoiler that was on here, the stock lip spoiler. The only difference is that it comes up as opposed to laying flat. The stock spoiler kind of lays flat, and there is the cutout isn't as wide on the stock one. You know, it comes maybe to about here and then drops down and again to there. So but for this build, I'm looking to go a little more conservative. You know, the V-Series spoiler is a nice spoiler, but to me, you know, that belongs on a car with a full exhaust and, you know, maybe a power adder, maybe a turbo or twin turbo or a supercharger. And I'm not going that way with this car just because it will void the warranty, and I'm not looking to do that just yet. So just a few tasteful mods. We'll do the quarter window covers and the side scoops, and probably a rear diffuser in the future. This is a premium car, so it's got the two-piece rear bumper. So basically where the yellow part of the lower bumper is, that'll come out, and we'll put a black one in. The exhaust is coming tomorrow, so we probably will do a video on that on Tuesday with a sound clip, and that's going to be interesting too, because that's an SVE axle back. So it was relatively inexpensive in comparison to a lot of the other axle backs, but it's still, you know, T304 stainless. So, you know, I guess essentially if this goes on without a hitch and it sounds good, then you're pretty much just paying for name, you know, whether it be, you know, Full Master on the lower end, or Mishimoto, or you know, all the way up to Borla, Ford Racing, and Porsche exhaust. So but we'll have a video on that as well. The other thing is, and this has nothing to do with this vehicle, but I think I should be getting in touch with the person who had the Shelby GT350 that the supercharger was installed for. So for those of you who saw that video, I was able to get some video after it was installed, not quite put back together, but then the customer picked the car up before I could get up there to hear it run. So hopefully I'll have somewhat of a review as to how, you know, the customer feels about the supercharger and how it's running since it was installed. So, all right, have any questions, hit me up. Take care.